Hey, hey, hey. Let me get into these comments. Let me turn this music down a little bit. It's real loud up in here today. How are y'all doing? So, I just wanted to go live really quick before I lost my thoughts on this. You know, there was the debacle with the Derrick Jackson stuff. Y'all know how that went. This keeps going back to where I don't want it to be. Thank you. Somebody said finally catching up video from the beginning. Y'all know I don't know who you are because it just says Facebook user in here. So I never know who you are, but welcome. I'm so glad you are catching it from the beginning. Oh my goodness. I know, because that is crazy how it be like that. All right, so I just wanted to jump on, while this was fresh in my mind. All right. So before I get started, hey girl, what's up, Isis? So before I get started, I am, Tanisha Levon, metaphysician, holistic life coach with a focus on relationships. I am a Reiki master. And a reigniter of the divine feminine energy and essence that dwells within us. Another thing I want to say before I get started, hold on, here we go. Always, 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 and never fails. Never fails. There we go. Okay, never fails. So, I am a place for accountability, right? So if you are going to be looking for somebody and somewhere to kind of like stay in your mess, I'm not the place to be. You know what I mean? I'm like not the coach for y'all. All right. So people want to stay stuck. I'm all about us getting unstuck. So things that I say trigger you or make you feel away, I am so very, very, very sorry about that. It's just that it usually needs to be said. You know what I'm saying? And as women, if you never feel what me and my brother used to call a burn, right? What that means is that you've been singed by correction. That's what that means. Like, it was my brother and I's thing growing up that we would get in trouble. We would be held accountable by our parents. We would be held accountable by people in our life, right? And so we used to call it getting burnt. Like, so it's something that, it's in the Bible. It's called a refiner's fire. And what it does is it burns all the dead and yucky stuff off of you so that you could be a better, more powerful version of yourself. Ultimately, that's what it is. Was this playing? What's going on? Who's this now? Isis, is that you again? You know what? Let me see if I could go in here. Oh, Johanna. Hey, girl. Was what playing? Tell me. But so it was something called a refiner's fire, right? And that's what my brother and I used to do. Like, so when we got in trouble, we would come back in the room. We were like, "You got burnt." Like, yeah, I got burnt. And that's what that meant. Like, you got singed by fire. So if you do not, okay, now that's Tiff. If you do not ever feel that burn as a woman, you guys know I talked to us about that before. Yes, this live was planned, Johanna. It sure was. I had it in there. I put it in there yesterday or the day before. I knew it was you too. I know. Welcome, ladies. I'm so glad you guys are able to be here. I'm glad you guys were able to catch it from the beginning. Because, sometimes you're coming in the middle and you be like, let me leave and catch the replay because you kind of feel like you're in the middle and you can't keep up. So I'm glad that you guys were able to join from the beginning. So my brother and I used to have this thing called getting burnt. And that was just the refiner's fire. That's what that means. So if you never feel that burn on the inside of being triggered, of being corrected, then that just means that you're willing to stay in your mess by not feeling it. Abiza. Okay, I got you. A little later. Okay, sounds like a plan. All right, so that's all that means. All right. So if you feel the burn, don't worry about it. This is how we lived our lives, y'all. That's all I'm saying. And so because I live my life like that, now that when I feel that burn, I automatically ask myself a question. I be like, Why did this burn like that? Um, I like to ask myself the deeper questions like, what triggered me? Why do I feel like that? And what just went on? Like, why did I feel that weird feeling on the inside? So you got to evaluate that feeling, okay? Don't blame, just look inward, all right? If you don't look inward, that's going to keep you stuck. So this live right here is not necessarily about who's right or who's wrong. So I don't want y'all to get triggered by this and be like, oh my God, she is always on the guy's side. I'm not on anybody's side. This is not about who's right or who's wrong. This is about an important lesson for us as women to learn. And sometimes it might not even be the lesson for us to learn. It might just be the lesson for us to pass on. You know what I'm saying? We all have daughters and nieces and little cousins and things that we can be influential in their lives. So this is just a lesson, all right? So what I've learned throughout my years is there's something called popular opinion. And it floats around everywhere, especially with social media now. Something will drop and then everybody will like jump on whatever was said and be like, yes, and like take it to the hill. And I'm not one to really do that because that's where everybody's at. So when everybody's there, I'm always kind of like, Now, it could be that everybody's here because we were supposed to be here, or it could be that everybody's here because nobody took the time to take a deeper thought and look beyond the superficial surface thing that everybody sees, right? So I'm not a bandwagon jump oner, all right? I don't hop on them. I evaluate first, and then I kind of decide which way to go. Like once I look and be like, okay, something don't seem right. Go fly in the ointment here. So, that's just how I like to kind of live my life. So there's times where I want to actually see something in its entirety because I don't like making a decision or swaying toward a certain decision unless I feel like I have enough information to do so. And this is one of those cases, all right? Y'all, I don't even want to laugh because it's not funny. This is people's real life. But let me say this. I am not going to spend the majority of my time here speaking to this man's narcissism or his character, okay? Although we will certainly hit it. But I don't want to spend the time on the live talking about the fact that he's a narcissist, talking about the fact that he manipulates women. I don't want to necessarily spend my time there. I want to shed light on some things that people may have overlooked. All right. So I am a speaker to women. We know that. I am not a speaker to men. I'm a speaker to women. So I know a lot of times people be like, well, why you ain't address the man? Because men don't listen to women, number one. Men are not listening to me, number two. So my job is only to speak to the people that are listening to me, right? So it's all about being able to shift things from one side, at least being able to hit one side, even if you're not being able to hit the other, if that makes sense. All right. This lesson is for the women who don't want this to be them. All right. It's not to say again who's right or wrong. We just simply need to observe and learn from it. So let's begin. Okay, let us begin. As I was delving into this story a little bit, now I'm going to be honest, I did follow it a little bit because y'all, I'm gonna be honest, when he first came out, I was crushing. I was like, oh my God, who is this dark-skinned, smart, intelligent, well-versed, articulate man on the internet? Not to mention he's dropping all these gems. He was a straight gem dropper, period. Men hated him, women loved him. All right. So, I ain't gonna lie. I jumped on the Derrick Jackson bandwagon when he first came out. This was probably about 2016, 15, 16. Because I remember I was separated from my husband. I was like, oh my God, my husband's smart like this. How come he don't act like this? How come he don't feel these ways? So I know that a lot of women jumped on that, right? So let's start. The reality of the matter is most women have been cheated on in one form or another at some point in their life or have experienced cheating. I mean, I think we all have. Girl, Isis, listen, girl, you don't even know. You don't even know, because I literally wanted to inbox him and be like, hey, are you going to be in our area soon? Are you doing a conference? Because I'll come. Like, girl, it was that bad, okay? I'm just going to expose myself right now because that was crazy. But I'm glad I'm not the only one admitting that I jumped on it, okay? So we've all been cheated on. We know this. At some point in our lives, we was like dealt with some form of infidelity or whatever. So this is not about our personal triggers, ladies. So let's put that to the side, okay? A lot of times when I speak, your personal triggers come out and then you either got to leave the live or whatever. So if your personal trigger comes out, I do suggest in this case to turn the live off and listen to the replay, okay? If you listen to the replay, then you'll be able to stop the video where you feel triggered and evaluate the trigger and then go from there, all right? Give it time and allow the spirit to kind of talk to you, to kind of push you off the ledge there, and to allow you to cleanse that. Because without that cleansing of the trigger, you'll stay stuck there, all right? And that's not what anybody wants. So don't feel the burn and then get upset at the person that made you feel the burn, all right? Just kind of look at it. The purpose of feeling the burn, like anything else, is to evaluate. Just like when you go to the doctor's office and they be like, where does it hurt? Like, where's the pain? Then once they figure out where the pain is coming from, now things can be addressed, okay? So let's start here. I'm in a few groups on Facebook and Instagram and different things like that. And this topic kept coming up. So I will read y'all my response, but it was baffling to me the amount of women who said things like, well, okay, so the bottom line is this. Let me see if I can even find it. Somebody said, like, hey, how come everybody's getting on this woman's case about saying, like, you know, she looks plain or whatever? And a lot of women got up there and were like, listen, here's the thing. You could be Halle Berry or you could be Beyonce and a guy will cheat on you. So I'm like, oh my God, like here we go with the cliche. You could be Beyonce, you could be Halle Berry, you could be Ashanti, and a man will cheat on you. I don't want to hear that. That is the most basic statement that anybody can ever say. All right. I can't stand when I hear that, because you know what that means? Yes, there is validity to it. I'm not going to take away the validity of it. You could be anybody and be cheated on. It doesn't matter whether you're a celebrity or not. That's not the focus here. The focus here is the fact that a woman would mention that you could be Beyonce, Halle Berry, and whoever and get cheated on, in a sense to say that that doesn't hold me accountable as a wife anymore. Most women, and this is why I'm not letting you off the hook on this, who say this are manipulative and they lack accountability. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. And the reason why is because who you are has more to do with you than it does him. So you should never be like, well, you could be, I'm not, basically you're saying it don't take all that, because you could be the most beautiful woman in the world and he'll still cheat. So basically what that means is don't try. Stop that. Stop that. That makes no sense. I don't understand why people feel okay saying it out loud, because it sounds ridiculous. Like, well, I mean, you could be anybody and get, you know, so I'm just chill and sit back, because that could be anybody. I don't want to hear that. It shouldn't matter what he does or who he is. You still need to be your best version of yourself at all times, as much as you can possibly can. Now, nobody's going to hit the mark 100% of the time, you know. But if you're striving to hit the mark, you will hit the mark majority of the time. But when you say things like that, subconsciously, you are telling yourself that you don't have to be your best, because this is going to happen anyway. Anytime you become a certain way for a response, or because of a consequence, or because things don't go your way, so now you're not going to do it, that is manipulative, controlling, and it lacks accountability. Period. All right. Anybody that's willing to give themselves a cop out as to why they shouldn't be their best, girl, that is an extreme character flaw. Okay? That's why I can't stand hearing it. Like, oh, well, I mean, you could be doing your best and they'll still cheat. Okay, and does that mean I'm going to stop doing my best because he might cheat anyway? That just doesn't make sense. Okay? Like, I remember the other day, my students asked me this. They said, Miss, do you still tip somewhere if the service isn't good? And I said, absolutely, I do. Because me tipping has more to do with my character than it does with their service. There's two reasons. One, I am in a tip-based industry. So I believe in giving something that I desire to get back. Another thing, though, is nobody desires to be a waitress. Nobody desires to serve you. Like, nobody gets in class and goes, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a waitress. I want to be a waiter. Said nobody ever. Like, that's not anybody's dream job. They didn't choose that. Life chose that for them. They are in an extenuating situation that they got to make ends meet. And so they do what they have to do. So granted, I could be amazing at the table, but the table before me could have been terrible. And now they're dealing with that. And now they're kind of like off their game. So I never not give a tip because the service isn't good. Now, I might not give as big of a tip because normally I will tip 20 to 25%. But if the service isn't that great, then I'll tip 10 or 15%. But I'm not going to not tip and feel good about that, getting up like, oh, well, the service was bad, so I'm not tipping. They can figure that out themselves. I personally just don't do that. That's not me, because who I am and how I act and how I react has more to do with me than it does anybody else. And so that's one of the things that when you say like, oh, well, you know, they're going to cheat anyway. How you are in your marriage and how you are in life has more to do with you than anybody else. Okay. The one thing that my husband had said to me when we first got back together that I guess it was like a compliment. He said, I stayed true to my character no matter who he was and what he was doing. I didn't waver from my character. I didn't waver. Like, I wasn't like, oh, well, you want to be outside? Well, I'm outside then. Or you want to be doing this? Well, I'm doing that then. Oh, you want to do it? I could cheat better. Like, I can't stand when women be like, oh, I cheat back. Girl, what? Why? So if you cheat back, then you're a cheater to begin with. Because cheating back doesn't make you great because you're like, I'm going to do what you did. Like, these are life lessons that we teach our kids. Like, if somebody jump off a bridge, will you jump off a bridge too? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, if you cheat back, then you're a cheater too. Like, you might as well cheat first then. It doesn't matter whether you came first or last or what came first, the chicken or the egg. If you're going to do it, then do it and be that and stand by that. But don't ever use what somebody else does as a reason for why you're doing what you're doing. That's all I'm saying, right? So let's start to unpack this, shall we? I'm going to keep saying it's not about whose fault it is, but I will address and break down all parties, okay? And I'm going to try to do this fairly quickly because I bought some stuffed shrimp and I want to cook it. All right. So let's start here. Danae and Derrick met in college. She was wholesome and in church. Now, I looked this stuff up after the first cheating scandal came out a very long time ago, like the 3 years ago when it first came out that he was messing around with all those women. I kind of like wanted to know their stories. So I was like, dang, because again, we all jumped on this bandwagon, but guess what? None of us knew he was married. None of us. There was not another Jackson. There was not a woman out there that we saw attributed to him. He was always doing like videos in his car. Like, where you at? Like, what are you doing? Nobody ever really thought to think about that because he was never really in an office. He was just always in his car. So, I mean, I decided to like delve in. So they met in college. She was like wholesome and in church or whatever. However, she wasn't that wholesome. Like y'all wasn't. Because she was busting it open and she got pregnant, right? Shortly after college. And after that, well, this is shortly after college, but before they were married. So Danae had a child by Derrick before they got married. let's start here. This is classic, y'all. This is classic. I have a man that I want to keep behavior. The reason I say this is, ladies, we still have to take accountability here at all times, right? Dare I say this? All of us, it's gonna be hard to say because it includes me. So don't think like I'm out of this, right? So dare I say this, that we all wanted to get pregnant by the people we have children with. When we got pregnant, we normally liked this guy, loved this guy, was smitten by this guy, thought this guy was going to be good for us. It's very rare that you are in a situation where you hate the man and then you pop up pregnant. Now, again, let's delve deeper. I don't even mean like superficially hate the man, because sometimes we are pretending we hate the man, but we actually still love the man. That's why he's around. So again, I don't want to hear like, no, because me and him was broken up and we was just like doing our thing. Then why was y'all still doing y'all thing then? Like, we just got to stop lying to ourselves so much and stop being delusional. We all wanted to be pregnant by the people we're pregnant by. Because here's the thing, when we don't want to get pregnant, we don't. And that's just a fact. When we don't want to get pregnant, we don't get pregnant. Like, it's the weirdest thing, but we just don't. I don't want to get pregnant. I haven't been pregnant in 11 years. So I don't want to get pregnant. But when I got pregnant, when I admitted it to myself, I had to say, when I got pregnant, I wanted to be pregnant. I wanted to get pregnant. Even though we weren't in the best space, we weren't in a good place. Again, it's classic. I want to keep a man behavior. I know we all say that the memo came out that when you have a baby, oh, Natima, I know. That's why I paused. You know what I'm saying, girl? You know how I go. But when we have these babies, right? We make a choice, okay? And that choice is that we want to be impregnated by this man. When we don't want to get pregnant, we don't. When we do want to get pregnant, we do. And that's just what it is. So when I say classic, I want to keep a man behavior. We all know when we say the memo, like, hey, listen, getting pregnant by a man doesn't, everybody knows that doesn't mean he has to be with you. True and not true. Because no, it does not guarantee that he's going to be with you at all. Not even a little bit. But there's a good chance. Because if you have a decent man, most decent men don't want to have bad baby mamas running around out here. That's number one. Okay. But even if he doesn't get back with you, it keeps him around just enough for you to be able to possibly work things out. Without that child, you will lose all connection to that man, period. And that's just what it is. It's really like black and white. Without a child, y'all break up. Unless you run into him at a store or he unblocks you or you unblock him, there's no reason to really talk. Unless you're talking to reconcile. But when you have a child, he has to come pick that child up. He has to drop that child off. You have to drop that child off. You guys have to talk on the phone. You got to talk about plans for the kids. And you can always insert little things in there. So it gives you a little bit, like half a chance, right? All right. So let's get back to Danae and Derrick. She had this child by this man that she loved, that she wanted to have this baby by. So now they're working through things. They're not together. They're not married, but they're working through things. In the meantime, y'all saw Derrick before, right? On my thumbnail, I got the picture of Derrick before. You see how he got like the little, he was chubby and kind of plain, like little chubby, his little stomach kind of like big, as she was as well. She was not chubby, but certainly plain, just like him. Plain is not bad at all. So don't think I'm diminishing anybody that is plain, but he was plain, she was plain. I'm only creating a narrative here, okay? But she was plain not for where he was and his masculine stature. So like He ended up shifting, y'all. He ended up changing, metamorphosizing. And she didn't. So again, the man you meet in college is not the man you're going to end up with. Especially if your man has drive. And based on where Mr. Jackson ended up, he certainly had drive. Certainly had drive, okay? This is a mistake, y'all, that a lot of women make. So let's tell our daughters and nieces, because it's too late for us. Okay? Too late for us. We already made our mistakes. We did the same thing Danae did, except for the fact that she's in public scrutiny. That's the only difference between her and us. That's it. And that's why I'm not judging the good sis. I'll get to good. Listen, y'all. Danae crazy. But listen, I think they both narcissistic and psychopaths. But that's my opinion. Okay? That's just me. So this is a mistake that a lot of women make, all right? We think the man we meet is the man we're going to end up with, and that's not true. Girl, Isis, you know I'm going to talk about it. Isis, you know I'm going to talk about it, okay? I got to get through this without cracking up laughing because this is funny to me in a sense. So I got to chill. So don't make me laugh. Not another minute, all right? So this is why, for me, I would never encourage a girl like my nieces or anybody to marry a man in his 20s at all because he doesn't know who he is yet, right? And unless you are going to grow with him, change and adapt with him, get yourself ready for a roller coaster ride because this man is going to be going like this. And you're going to be right up there with him if you marry him in his 20s. Now, Derrick decides to make an honest woman out of her. You know, that's what they call it. When you marry the girl that you got pregnant, you make an honest woman out of them. This girl, Danae, was wholesome. She was in church. She was in college. Good girl. Decent girl. Nothing wrong with her. And he got a baby by her. Why not give your baby's mother a chance that hasn't done anything necessarily wrong? Now, I'll get to it. I was going to say the issue Danae had was that she loved him too much. She loved him. I don't want to say too much, but Danae knew what she wanted and she went after what she wanted. That's how I'm going to say it. All right. Between time, as he's making an honest woman out of her, this man is building himself up to the man that he wants to be. This man lost that Winnie the Pooh gut that he had up in college. He got in the gym. He got big and buff. He is tall, dark-skinned, knows how to get to the bag, articulate, smart, and became an almost overnight sensation, making loads of money. Y'all, I have one question. What were you doing as his wife while he was doing this? Because as you can see, this is not the man you got with. The man you got with had a Winnie the Pooh gut. He was plain, had nothing going for him. Now you got a man, he was tall then, that is tall, dark, handsome, articulate, speaks well, got a little bit of money, got himself in the gym, got them big old buff arms now. What were you doing to adapt with that? What were you doing to align with that? What were you doing to put yourself right where he was at? Danae was at church, laying prostrate before the Lord, okay? Child, that neck had one muscle in it back. That's where Danae at. Danae was in church in prayer instead of aligning with what her husband was doing. See, a lot of people don't know what it means to let a man lead. They think it means, cook his food, I don't know, take care of some kids, That's not what letting a man lead means. They have this idea that it's just serving him and doing all this extra stuff. What letting a man lead means is getting on his page. That's what that means. It means aligning with him and his visions, his goals for himself and the family. You got to align with that, not vice versa. So while he's doing all this, what the hell were you doing, sis? What were you doing? You got to align to where he says he wants to be, not where he is now. When your man talks vision up there, you need to get up there before he gets there. You don't align with where he's at right now. He got a Winnie the Pooh gut right now. But he's telling you, I'm pretty sure, because men cannot not talk about their vision. He is telling you where he wants to be. You better run there and get there before him. Babe, I want to write a book. Babe, I want to be a motivational speaker. Babe, I want to be an author. I'm going to do this. This is my plan. This is my plan. This is my plan. Where were you at church? This is the problem at church. Because we're not teaching our women to align with their men. You're teaching them to align with God, but God is the one that said align with your man. Why are we so backwards? You at church, and he's in the car doing motivational videos. And guess what? I would have been in the car too, like, that would have been me. That would have been me. At church in them jeans with the sneaker. I already said that we're not doing this. I already said it. We're not doing it, okay? Because you acting up. So here's the thing. Here's the reality, right? I truly believe that his rise to fame came at a terrible time for them. That's what I believe. I don't believe that he meant to hurt this woman. I know everybody's saying that Derrick Jackson is a narcissist. I get it. But here's the thing. Most masculine men are narcissists. They all have narcissistic tendencies because they are meant for self-preservation. That's why. Everybody uses narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissistic personality disorder is a true, real disorder. Narcissistic traits is not narcissistic personality disorder. So stop using the two interchangeably. They're not the same. Narcissistic personality disorder, you got something really wrong with you. You are out here wilding, okay? Taking advantage of everything and everybody that comes in your way, gaslighting people, love bombing people, lying to people. But then there are people with narcissistic traits, which means that they just lead with their ego and they're self-serving. That's what that means. So those are two different things, okay? Now, I just believe it came at a terrible timing for him and her because he had married her, one, because she was pregnant. So let me tell you this. So I remember when my husband and I were separated, he all of a sudden was getting all of this clout and was in Atlanta on all of these panels and up there with Christian Keys and this guy and this guy and this guy, all these celebrities. And he's up there talking about marriage, talking about wives and as a man, what you're supposed to do. And I could have threw up because you know what? He was living none of that. We weren't even together. We were separated. Now, when people would be like, hey, are you married? He would always say, yeah, I'm married, but we're separated right now. And they would say, well, why are you guys separated? And at least he was honest because he would say, I didn't put her in a position to succeed. I told her this is what I wanted for my life. And then I went in a whole nother direction and I didn't put her in a position to succeed. So essentially, it's my fault for why we're not together. So he would always be honest about that. But could you imagine if that part of his life had gotten farther and we weren't together? Or we were just kind of in and out of our double dutch of a relationship, how much scrutiny would have came against us? And that's why I think this was a bad time for them, because him and Danae struggled day one. Because here is the thing. Aside from his narcissism, which we will get into, what I will say about Danae is do not ever, this is what I feel she did, and I'm giving advice now, do not ever dim your feminine light because of who your husband is. So, as a matter of fact, you have to grow and evolve with him. You have to grow, evolve, and adapt with him. And that's where most women go wrong. So this may sound a little bit crazy, but you have a husband, your vision and what you want to do should align next to his. Does that mean that y'all got to do the exact same thing? No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is you should be aligned, equally yoked with him and what he's doing. Okay? So for instance, if my husband say, babe, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking I'm about to start training people in the gym. I'm thinking I want to start doing A, B, C, and D. You better believe the first thing I say is, oh, babe, when you going to train me? So I can learn what to do. When you going to train me? So we going to go. So guess what? Now he showed me how to work all the machines. Now he do all this. Now but I'm with there. I'm in there with them. You're not about to be doing all this stuff alone. I don't care if your husband say, I want to start a hot dog truck. You better be like, you want relish, ketchup or mustard, and be right there with him. I don't care. I don't care what he says he wants to do. You need to yoke up with that at least a little bit. Am I saying do the whole thing? No, but you gotta be a part of it. Listen, had I been Mrs. Derrick Jackson, you see how I said it? There wouldn't even have been a Derrick Jackson, because I would have had a platform, Mrs. Derrick Jackson. Nobody would even know my real name. Listen, that's all you need to know, okay? He would have had his little podcast. I would have had mine, okay? Listen, you heard what my husband just said, so this is what I'm saying. I would have never let him been outside in that car by himself, acting like he don't got a wife. Even as estranged as they was. My book came out, and my husband's book came out right after. Because we both. That's what I'm saying. So she was never really a part of his vision. She never made herself a part of his vision. She made herself a part of the army of the Lord. No shade. Listen, I'm not going to go there, but I am going to go there a little bit toward the end, okay? I think the reason she never really truly aligned with the vision, though, is because she was never really comfortable with her position in his life. You want to know why? Because she knew what she had to do to get it. A lot of times when you are married by guilt, meaning you're married by a kid because the kid made him marry you, you are never secure in your position as wife, because you are a might as well wife. That's why. And I have to say it. That's why. Okay. What is a might as well wife? I'm going to tell y'all, because I think y'all don't know. So a might as well wife is a man who gets a woman pregnant, or she has held him down for so many years, and while he was down and out and broken, had nothing. And then when he finally gets to a little bit of where he needs to be, he's like, I might as well marry her, because you've been around so long, he'd look like an asshole if you left you. That's why. That is a might as well wife. Because here's the thing. This is the problem that men have. Men always, let me explain y'all something really quickly. Men, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I got to tell the truth. So let me tell you this. So in the Bible, it says it is not good for man to be alone, right? First things first. That's what he said. Day one, right? God said it's not good for men to be alone. I shall be able to help me for him, right? So a lot of women be like, well, men didn't even heal before they got to their next relationship. They didn't even do the due diligence. They didn't do the work. You want to know why? Because they don't need to. They literally are only accountable to themselves and God. That's it. So they don't do well alone. They need the energy of feminine essence next to them almost at all times. That's why they always overlap relationships. It is very rare that a man will break up with you, be single AF, now all of a sudden. No, there's always women. They got a barrage of women coming around. Now, they might not be sleeping with all of them, but they need the feminine essence and energy to survive. That's what they need. Ooh, that girl let him build his whole career while she was the backbone, and then went and got him the girl he want, okay? Because that's what they do. That's why a man needs to pick, he needs to stay single, or he needs to look for the wife that's going to align with his future vision, not where he is now. But the problem is, because men are not good alone, they always get the woman that aligns with where he's at now. And then that's not what they really want. So then when their stock goes up and their options open up, they realize, wait a second. This one, but I got the capacity to get that now. Oh no. And that is the sad part. Men are always picking women based on what their financial position is now, where they're at now, what they have now. They get a woman that rides with them where they're at now, even though they know they want to be here, but they're here. Then when they get here, this right here isn't good enough for him. So now, y'all, as the wife, if you already know you a might as well wife, well, he's striving for here, you need to be going up there too. That way, when he looks around, you're still in competition. You still are in the arena. You don't want to get into the arena and you don't compete. You don't look like nobody here. Y'all, I don't care how rich my husband gets. I don't care how much money he get. I guarantee you, you put me in any room and I will stand toe to toe with the biggest Instagram hoe. You want to know why? Because I'm going to keep myself right. My skin's going to look good. My hair is going to look good. I know how to dress. I know how to stand next to him. I know how to keep myself in shape. I know how to articulate myself in a room. I know how to shut up when I need to shut up. I know when to talk when I need to talk. There is nothing. You're not going to just be like, oh, she's so great. And now, but if I came in and I'm like this, looking all stupid and unconfident, he don't even want me in the room with the people that he's in. And that's the reality of it. You don't compete. You can't stand toe to toe. So you got to evolve as he evolves. If you see your husband starting to get his suits tailored, you better start to get some fitted dresses. Put some heels in your closet that you need to pick out on a day when he said, yo, we going to this meeting. I need you to get right. You're going to show up in some Mary Janes flats. What are you doing? You are with a, listen. So she didn't capitalize. She dimmed herself. Nobody even knew he had a wife. She's so bugged out for that. He is what you would consider a 20%er, meaning he's tall, dark skin, got money. Every woman out here is competing for that type of man. That's what every woman wants at this point. And she did nothing to grow with that. Nothing at all. Like I said, she was in the army of the Lord. Now, we all know that she wants this man, loves this man. This man's good looking. This man's articulate. Like, what woman wouldn't love him? And she's been with him since college. I don't blame her for loving him and still wanting him, even through all the debauchery, because when you've invested so much and so much time in something, it is really hard to let that thing go. So I'm not faulting Miss Derrick Jackson for holding on for dear life to her man. I really am not. That part, I am not judging. What I am saying is, girl, sis, if you want that man, you better step your game up. That's what I'm saying. I hope one day she listens to it so she can know to stop wearing them berets and them bonnets and being at the pool with a turtleneck on. While you got women out here with BBLs, lashes, wigs, weaves, lies, tummy tucks that want your man. Sorry, y'all. That's crazy. Like, what? Now, I'm not saying go get a BBL, but I'm saying put yourself in the competition. At least look like you're trying to align a little bit. I don't know. That's crazy. So it's our job as a woman to grow and adapt to the man so we can in turn become a part of his purpose here. That's our job, okay? Men go through a lot of different phases, and you have to grow through those phases with him if you get him young. Because if you don't grow with him, y'all will grow apart. That part's inevitable. If you get him older, which I recommend, and when I say old, I don't mean an old man, I mean just a man over 35, he has already pretty much gone through that. But 9 times out of 10, it's not really 35. It's about 38 or 39. I'm sorry, that was my husband. I'm going to text him. I'm you get off the train, but I hope you come up in here talking all loud. So he's already gone through that. So if you meet a man 39, 40, okay, you're actually meeting the man he is mentally, physically. This is what you're dealing with is straight shooting. This is who he is. There isn't going to be no like, boo, I jumped out on you. 9 times out of 10, this man is pretty stable, right? It's only going to be up from here. But if you get him young, you're going to have to go through some bullish along the way. I'm sorry. It's just the way that it goes, okay? Unfortunately, he has to find his way. And unfortunately, while he's finding his way, you're the one next to him dealing with all the roller coasters at the same time. All right. So a lot of people, not women in general, but a lot of people are saying that he wanted her to dress wholesome. Like that was his idea because she used to be a baddie, right? But I'm not sure about that. And the reason why is because I think that was her persona because she's just churchy. That's her thing. Like that's how she grew up. It's not, I don't think it's something he made her do, like, oh, I want her to be wholesome. But being married to a man like that, you can't do that. I'm sorry. You can't do that. You cannot dim what you are like. This is for husbands, girl, not boyfriends. Boyfriends are defensible. I mean, you know, there's some other things you need to do for your boyfriend to make you a wife, but not this. Don't align with him when it's just your man. You know, a little bit, but you got to tone back a little bit. But when it's your husband, no. So, being married to a man like that, you cannot do that, okay? You can't dim who you are because it takes away his desire to compete for you. See, here's the trick that a lot of guys do. Now, I don't know if Derrick did this to her, but I will say if he did, this is where she went wrong. If your man tells you to tone who you are, like, oh, yeah, you know, I want you to dress a little wholesome. I don't really like girls that wear makeup, But then the girls that he cheat with, that's what they got on. That is a manipulative ploy. What that means is he gets you plain Jane so that you over here not gaining any attention. So he like, okay, I got her over here. She plain. Don't nobody want her. So now I get to go over here and play. No. Most brother man, you're gonna still have that natural instinct to fight for me because I'm still gonna be over here doing good, looking good. Okay? A man is still competitive. So the moment you get playing like that, even if he told you to do it, you just shot your own self in the foot because you took away his competition. You took away his ability to fight for you. Nobody looking at her, so I could go over here and play. But men who have wives that are still the shit, they know there's only so far they could go with that because here's the thing. Men, again, territorial. While I'm over here playing, they are smart enough to know that there's another guy eyeing your wife in the cut somewhere. And while you're not fulfilling things, there's a guy over there waiting to do it. So they don't go that far. But when you get so plain and so cold looking and so like you're not with it and you're not with the times, you don't know what he's doing, you don't know where he at, you're not on his podcast, you're nowhere to be found. Nobody knew he had a wife. So of course, if nobody knew he had a wife, nobody was coming for his wife because nobody knew he had one. This story is so sad to me for her because she really shot herself in the foot. All right. This is another mistake most women make is getting complacent with their man. Like, I got him, you know, so I don't got to work hard no more. That is literally the worst thing that you can ever do. She should have immediately made herself known because some women are just go-tos like that. So the moment, like how we all was in here, like, yo, he was our crush, he was my crush, he was my crush. There's women that are in his hometown that are literally running into him at like Starbucks. I mean, we don't live near him, but there's women that literally run into him on a day-to-day. What makes them not shoot their shot? Seriously. I actually know women who set out to prove that, oh, her man don't love her like that. Watch me get him. Watch me wear this short dress and watch him look at me. Watch him. I know women that actually do that. I mean, I think they have mental health issues, but I know women that do it. Just to prove that they could take you from him. Yes. So I know women that do that. All right. You don't love her like that. Watch this. So sad. Two, when she didn't align herself with him and what he was doing, she shot herself in the foot. When he was at the gym, she should have been at the gym. Letting him lift her up. Something, babe, take a video of this. Show everybody how strong your arms are. Come on. Nowhere. Danae was at church. Another thing that people came to find out, that Derrick and Danae was separated for some time. She was just hoping that they would get back together. He was still around, like giving time with her, spending time with the kids, giving them a chance to work it out. But he had a whole other apartment downtown Atlanta. She lived in a suburb of Atlanta. So downtown, I guess his apartment was like an office / loft. Like, so it was an office, but it had a bedroom, it had a kitchen. So it was essentially an apartment. He had an office at their house that they had together that he was back and forth in. And then he also had the office that was in downtown Atlanta. So that's where he was bringing all the side chicks, to the other house, to the other office. So her next mistake was she wanted to go from a might as well wife to a chosen one without making the necessary adjustments. So you can go from a might as well wife to a chosen one, but she didn't do the adjustment. She didn't make any changes. She didn't do anything different that would have caused him to be like, all right, yeah, wifey stepping up. So I don't know. These chicks ain't even a hole in the fence. Yes, these chicks ain't even worth it because wifey done stepped up. But she didn't. She just kept going to church and praying that God was gonna work it out. Like, I don't know. Not only that, narcissism for like Derrick, I know everybody's saying that, but that can't solely be blamed on the narcissist, all right? Because they only play on the softness of the victim. But in this case, I don't really think Danae is that soft. Not from what I saw. I think it's an image. I don't necessarily think she's a victim. I think she's a victim of hurt because she loves a man that doesn't love her back the same. But I don't think she's the victim of like, I think Danae is a little bit of a narcissist too. My personal opinion. That's just my personal opinion from some things that I saw and read. But I don't necessarily think she's 100% a victim. Because remember I explained that women have more power than we let on. You know what I mean? Men can only hurt you repeatedly if you let them. If more women stood up and was just like, well, I'm sorry, I don't desire to be treated this way, and move along, more men would act right. Men only act right when the standard of accountability, they only act right to the standard of accountability that's set. If you give them an inch, they will certainly take a mile. There has to be standards. There has to be boundaries. There has to be parameters, or they'll bulldoze right over them. That's why men are held accountable systematically, because the only person that can hold a man accountable for real is himself. That's it. There's really literally nothing. It doesn't matter what your friends say. It doesn't matter what their parents say. It doesn't matter what the dog says. It doesn't matter what their kids say. Men can only be held accountable by themselves and or their relationship with God. That's it. Nothing else. So if you find yourself being mistreated, it is up to you to be like, hey, I don't like this treatment. I got to get out of here. Because that's the most feminine position you can take. There's nothing you can ever do about a man's behavior except for leave it. That's it. You can't make him change. You can't make him shift. And I think Danae got caught up in trying to make Derrick shift, as opposed to her putting the power in her hands and actually leaving him. She never left him. He always just migrated out of their house. She never said, you know what? No. Not I. No, because I think she really loved and wants and still wants this man. And lastly, as we trail off Danae, okay, but I do have to say this, because this has nothing to do with her per se, but just the example. Just because someone dresses modest and is in church does not make them a good wife. I'm sorry. A lot of people, I don't know what book it's in, like I said in the comment that I made on Facebook, like a man cheating is blatant, right? So when a man cheats on a woman, it is so blatant that everybody automatically attributes the blame to him. Like, he cheated, he should have not cheated, he should have never added anybody else, he should have never did this. Yes, it's blatant. So we're able to pick out who's to blame or who we perceive the blame to be. But just because you didn't cheat doesn't mean that you were a good wife. And I'm not saying she wasn't, I'm just saying in general. This is not about her personally now, okay? And because men have the capacity to deal with more than one woman, just in general, we have to understand this. Men choose to be monogamous. That is a choice, a conscious choice for them, okay? But their true nature is poly, meaning many. Their true nature is, I could deal with as many as I want and let go of as many as I want. They don't get as emotionally attached as we do. Until they find one that they can settle down with that aligns with their vision and purpose. That's the only time they feel like, oh, okay, I could do this. Anything other than that, they can entertain as many women as their little heart desires and as many women as their little car or house to hold, period. All right? So cheating is not that deep for men. We deem cheating deep because we're hurt by the cheating. And two, when we cheat as women, it's because it is deep. It's because we're doing it because this man is offering us something that we're not getting from home. And we're attached to this man. We have an attachment to this affair. We have an attachment to this relationship. It's deep for us because in order to cheat, we have to have an emotional attachment or connection to that man. Men, not so much. They don't have to have any connection to cheat at all. It could literally be, she looked cute in that bathing suit. And that's it. I never had any plans to call her again. And he would probably be telling me the truth because they can do that. It's the weirdest thing. Like, we can't, but they can. So we need to understand this, that women are literally like a gift. I was going to say supply, but that sounds bad because it goes to narcissism. But women are literally supply to men. We're a gift to men. We're something to be unwrapped and given to them, right? So that's why I say that most men have narcissistic tendencies, because they're self-serving. It's all about them, and it's all about where they need to be in this life and in this world. And you got to fit with that. Otherwise, they don't care. That's really how it goes, okay? So back to the point, cheating is super blatant. So when a man does it, we can all see who the problem is. But based on what I've seen about this particular woman, she is a couple eggs short of a dozen, y'all. No shade. But that prayer, I'm floored still. Okay. Let me just say this. I went to church. Because you're in church doesn't mean that you are a good wife either. I went to church with quite a few horrible wives. My parents had a church, and some of the wives in there were literally terrorists. I'm gonna give y'all some examples. There was a wife that told everybody in the church that her husband wanted to have sex and she didn't want to, and he just kept asking her, and so she finally gave in and literally made it seem like he raped her, and how she was in the shower wiping herself crying. Like, he didn't. Because I was there when she told the story. She wasn't crying when she told the story, but she was like, it was more just like she didn't want to. And she kept saying, come on, like in high school. And she was like, okay, fine. And told everybody she was violated. Another one, well, first of all, a wife cheated on her husband with my husband. So that happened. But I mean, I've seen wives embarrassing their husbands, talking to their husband like children, complaining to other congregation members about their husbands, belittling their husbands in front of people. I will never forget one of my uncles literally crying like a baby because his wife has spilled some tea about their relationship to a group of people, and it had nothing to do with anything that he had done to her. It was literally like she was talking about a private situation that had to do with child support, their finances, and his job or something. And he was so hurt when he found out. When I tell you, he cried so hard, to my parents, and I was there because I was always there because I just was. And I just remember my chihuahua jumping on his lap and licking all his tears. Like, oh my God, why is this man crying? And I remember being mortified for him. Like, all these were church women. They were not worldly women. They were not women that were outside, all modest, all covered up. And they were terrorists. Every last one of them, aside from a few. All right. So it was in these moments that I witnessed, too many to count actually, that made me who I am today, that made me be the femininity advocate, wanting to reignite femininity, because most of those women were highly masculine, highly. And guess what? The church sanctioned it. It was okay because wives hear from God. So we're allowed to just like say whatever and do whatever because we can hear from God. Meanwhile, you're being a terrorist, a whole Jezebel, okay? Controlling ass spirit. Not to mention, y'all, this woman, Danae, she got online and prayed demise on everyone. Like, damn, I wasn't even thinking about y'all relationship and y'all marriage, but I still saw it and heard it. My God, my ear gates. You cursed me. And I had nothing to do with what happened between you and Mr. Jackson. I saw that prayer. I'm like, oh, me? No, I wasn't talking about it. Anyone that goes to witching fatherless children, orphans, bastards, and saying she hopes to strangle on your word and she hopes that, ma'am, you have some violent, aggressive, and vicious tendencies. Whether you wanted us to know or not, we've actually witnessed it now. Because if the first thing you went to was fatherless children, I pray your children are fatherless. My God, that was terrible. And no, guess what? I don't want to hear that he drove her to that either. I don't want to hear it. Women, kill me with that. Oh, he drove me to that. He drove her to that. Shut up. Stop giving other people that level of power over you and your actions. Stop that. Stop it now. Because it's not cute. It's not going over anymore. Nobody's buying it. Okay? Stop. It's not okay. Everybody wants to blame other people for why they act the way they act. No, not give me that. Because you have control over you. No one else does. The only person that has control over you is you. Okay? She had a choice. That girl could have said a real prayer. She could have prayed for her marriage to herself. She could have prayed for a marriage between her husband, and God. She could have blessed the people that cursed her, because that's what the Bible say do. You know what I'm saying? They bless those who curse you. You know. She could have stayed quiet and non-existent altogether. She could have just stayed underground. She chose, of all things, to wish and pray that vicious prayer and curse over everybody. Okay, woman of God, like, what are you doing? Why did you do that? And now that, I'm not gonna say it was karma, but that boomeranged quick, okay? There was also another video that had surfaced of this woman literally fighting in the spirit realm. Literally a video of her kicking, fighting, and punching air. I would be mortified if I was her husband, honestly, because that's crazy. I don't mind if you fight in the spirit realm. That more power to you, okay? But why is it online making you look like a psychopath? Girl, that prayer came and knocked her right back down. I'm just telling you, I'd be mortified, to be honest. Girl, just lay low, okay? Nobody really knew who you was anyway. Now you're gonna resurface and look like you a couple eggs short of a dozen? Like, you just come out looking like you just not the sharpest tool in the shed. Like, you never, like, when your husband's out here in these streets wilding, let that man embarrass himself. Don't you hop on the embarrassing train too. Let that man listen. When my husband was out here wilding, listen, nobody heard from me. I was chilling. I was working. I was coming home, taking care of my kid, Mamiana. That's what I was doing. Minding my business. Okay. I was not out here trying to be lit. I was not out here podcasting. I was not out here preaching. I was not out here ministering. I was home, Mamiana and I was working and building myself up behind the scenes. That's what I was doing. I was not trying to come out, prove a point, not trying to tell the world who we was and what we was doing. People could hear, people could speculate, people could think all they want. I never said a word. I never even validated or denied anything that anybody ever said, because it was none of their business and barely any of mine, because I didn't know what he was doing. So that was that. Hold on, y'all. My computer about to always on this thing. But yeah, so she had a choice, and this girl did not do that. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all like this. My husband literally looked like an asshole. Excuse my French. When he was out here wilding, because my character spoke to who I was itself. I didn't have to get online. I didn't have to prove anything. I didn't have to plead my case. I didn't have to say, well, y'all know that I ain't do nothing to deserve this, and he just out here. Let him look stupid. Not me. My character is gonna be my character. Who I am is gonna be who I am. But it ain't got nothing to do with that at all. She shouldn't have anything to prove to anybody at this point. Now let's get on quickly to Derrick's big narcissist ass. His narcissistic trait having ass. Okay? He's about to play himself so hard. Let me tell you why. Because men who have wives are cheaters. And men who have wives and they're cheaters, they don't know what it's like to be single and be out here. Because having a wife and cheating is different than being single out here in these streets. When you have a wife, your supply, 80 to 90% of what you need is already at home. You're just getting fluffed when you're out. Fluffed. You have the illusion that you got mad options. You got the illusion that there's mad women out here for you. You got the illusion that everybody wants you. You got the illusion that you can have whomever and whatever you want. But what you don't know is that what's going on out here is not good, sir. These women out here nowadays are savages. They are vultures. They are crazy. They ain't raised right. They're not feminine. They're masculine. And the exact very thing that you're looking for, that you think you're going to find, you're not. Because having fun on a little beach with somebody that you're spending minimal time with, her ass don't count. Trust me. He is about to be out here playing himself. And he's a hypocrite, because he was out here spitting rhetoric that you were not even living by. You had men out here hating you, women out here loving you, and you wasn't living by any of it. You wasn't doing not near part of it, not near none of it. Overnight sensation, was not ready for the clout, was not ready for what was coming for him. Okay. Like I said, most of what you need is supplied at home. So you're just getting fluffed out here, okay? Peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter and fluff, peanut butter and nuts, peanut butter and bacon. I don't know, but you already got your peanut butter. You just want the little extra to go with it. You're going to get out here and realize there's nothing out here, sir. Not nothing. What you think you're missing, you're actually not missing at all. This woman has stood by him. This woman has been there. And I know she's acting a little crazy now, but she got 2 of his children. She's probably been at least a decent wife. He's never said anything bad about her. It probably just that she wasn't exactly what he would have chosen if he was in a different position. That's all. All right. But he's gonna get out here and realize ain't nothing going on out here but Casamigos and lemon pepper wings. That's what's going on out here. That's what he's gonna realize. Ain't nothing going on out here but some Casamigos, some margaritas, tequilas, lemon pepper wings, and all flats. Okay? That's what's going on out here. Then he's gonna be mad because he's gonna realize, wait a second, this is not as fun as I thought it was gonna be. This is not as lit as I thought it was gonna be. So I honestly feel bad for him too. And honestly, here's the thing. I don't think that Derrick's divorcing Danae. I think he said it because he got caught again. And this is what guys do, because my husband did that. When you keep getting caught doing something to a girl that it seems like she don't deserve it, The very first thing you say is, oh, now we about to get a divorce. I'm divorcing her because, you know what I'm saying? We not really, we gonna get a divorce. That way your shenanigans don't look as bad to the public because you keep getting caught. So I don't think he's divorcing Danae. I think that was a public ploy to get himself out of the hot seat, and typical narcissistic behavior. Do that thing off him, threw it over there because he got caught with some other girl. And another thing, that old girl he got caught with, I don't like girls like her. Okay, because see, I'm not a fan of Danae and that cursey prayer that she did, but at day's end, I am also not a fan of a woman sleeping with a married woman's husband. First and foremost, you knew that man was married. That man, it came out that he was married. Yes, a few STDs, ISIS. It came out that man was married. Yes, it came out. Everybody knows it now. Now there's no excuses. Everybody knows that he's married. And then you gonna be sitting there with your big goldfish ass eyes talking about I got your man on Instagram. I know y'all seen that girl he got caught with the big face and the wig and the whatever. She was like, I got your man. Girl, you are about to play yourself even harder than he's about to play himself, because I know you don't think that he announced that divorce because he's actually going to be with you. I hope she don't think that. I truly be thinking some women got mental health issues, because if you think that, you are sadly mistaken. Y'all know how I feel about this. If you don't, go look at the side chick syndrome video. I pray for the day that this girl falls in love so deeply with somebody, because she has cursed herself. Okay, that karma is going to hit her so hard, because see, here's the thing. Now she's making fun of his wife. Now she's capitalizing on that woman's pain, and that I do not like. That I do not rock with. That you deserve the lowest of the low, and you do deserve that when you do find love to not even trust him. Here's the thing. This man is not going to divorce this woman and be with you. I don't know why women be thinking that. He might divorce the woman, but it don't mean he's going to be with you. Oh, Tink. How come you don't know? And I hope you don't think that you are the only one he's seeing. You really think that this man that is a cheater, we actually have this idea that this man is a cheater and he's going to leave his wife with me. But I am so special. The Lord has looked down upon me so gracefully, so graciously, that this man is going to fall so deeply and madly in love with me, because I am just so special like that he's not going to do the same thing to me. Oh, Tink. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. It'll never work like that. Now, when you find a man you absolutely love, because it's probably not going to be him. But even if it is him, you've cursed yourself, because now you know what he's capable of. Now, when he say, I got to work late. Whoa, ain't that the same thing you said when you didn't go home to your wife when you was with me? Oh, yeah, I'm going to be at the studio late. Oh, didn't you say that too? Now your relationship with him is cursed. Now you finally do end up with the man you actually love, and you'll never trust him, because you know that there's another woman out there exactly like you, willing to do exactly what you did to get her man, to get your man. I just don't understand why we don't understand that this life is a cycle. It just goes round and around and around and around. It just does. So, oh girl, your feelings over us be hurt too, because Derrick Jackson's Derrick Jackson. And if he could cheat on his wife that he's been around since college, I'm pretty sure he loves and cares for her and his children, my friend, he will do the same for you, because he has not changed. So, with that being said, I'm going to let you guys go tonight, because I've said too much. So, I love y'all. You know how I do. I got some stuffed shrimp downstairs that I want to make. But I will see y'all again next time. If you catch the replay, make sure you leave a comment, say hello, and let me know what you think of the video. All right. Love y'all. Bye.